families, creating a lifetime of memories. Sadly, some families are denied these important moments due to the sad practice of alienation. These are families divided.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Families Divided TV. If you're looking for someone to fulfill your needs, give you support, and appreciate the best you have to offer, don't rely on a narcissist. Narcissists are limited emotionally. They will never be who you want them to be. The sooner you can accept this fact, the better off you will be. Everything about narcissistic abuse is counterintuitive. If you think you should, you shouldn't. If you think you shouldn't, you should. Dealing with a narcissist can be very confusing. Strategy, not logic, is the key. Tonight, Randi Fine will be giving us much information regarding all of this. And we're going to be back with Randi Fine right after this important message.
Divorce and co-parenting are a major life interruption for families, especially the kids, but also for parents and grandparents. And it's even worse in blame-filled, high-conflict cases. When parents engage in alienation by turning the kids against the other parent or grandparents, kids suffer. They're denied the opportunity to build the 4 big skills necessary for future resilience. New Ways for Families online class can help. Parents learn to use our popular BIF and EAR skills to calm the conflict and stop the hostile emails and texts. And we even have a class for kids and parents to learn together. Research shows a 75% improvement in joint parental decision-making after this course is taken, plus overall improvements for kids' well-being. Don't wait to make this affordable investment in your children's future and improve your well-being too. Start learning new ways for your family today at conflictplaybook.com.
Hi, I'm Randi Fine. I'm a narcissistic abuse expert and coach, and today I'm going to talk to you about ways that you can deal with a narcissist. There's a quote that goes like this, which is perfect. Never defend yourself to a narcissist. They already know you're right. They just want you to go crazy trying to prove it. That's about it, They really do. They really do know that you're right. And the whole thing is really to make you go crazy. But if you're looking for someone to fulfill your needs, give you support, appreciate the best you have to offer, don't rely on a narcissist. Narcissists are limited emotionally. They will never be who you want them to be. And the sooner you can accept this fact, the better off you will be. As I talk about this, I may use the pronoun he or him, just so I don't have to go he or she, but understand that there's just as many female narcissists as there are male narcissists, so I don't want anybody to take offense to that, but I am going to just do that to simplify. You have probably seen glimpses of that ideal person in your narcissist and told yourself that there must be a good person somewhere inside of him, that there's always hope that he might change. But since the narcissist has observed others and learned how to exhibit appropriate behaviors as a way to disguise himself, you will catch glimpses of apparent humanity, but never empathy. So be careful not to allow these brief emanations of kindness to fool you into believing in the narcissist's potential. He is only nice and kind if there's some personal gain for being so. Forget about potential. What you see is what you get. Everything about narcissistic abuse is counterintuitive. If you think you should, you shouldn't. If you think you shouldn't, you should. Dealing with a narcissist can be very confusing. Strategy, not logic, is the key. So, I'm going to give you some tips that are going to help you manage the narcissist in your life. And use these because you must strategize to protect yourself just as diligently as the narcissistic abuser strategizes to abuse you. So the first one I want to talk about is Stay emotionally distant. If you continue to live with the narcissist, do not share any of your emotions or feelings. Be guarded. Don't let the narcissist see you get upset. Don't try to rationalize with him or her. The narcissist sees these things as weaknesses and will use them against you. If you are physically removed from this person, the same applies, but it can be easier to do. If you ever have to talk to him or her, do it in a monotone voice, like that. And if you ever have to see the person, or you accidentally run into him or her, don't engage or make eye contact, because narcissists, they will take any little hint of you letting them in, recognizing them as the fact that you're still part of their abuse campaign. The second one, never give advice or tips to narcissists. They take all your helpful words as criticisms, and then they lash out against you. The third one is postpone and delay rather than confront. So if you feel like a conversation is not going well, or you are being criticized, make excuses that buy you time. Cool the emotions down, okay? You don't want to stand there and get trapped in this circular conversation that goes nowhere. Just let it cool down, excuse yourself. 3, 4, 5. Okay, number 5. Be direct and concise when you speak to the narcissist. The more you elaborate, the weaker you will appear. So you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to fill in uncomfortable silences. Just say what you have to say and leave dead airspace. I know that's not always easy because you're used to having to explain and maybe even defend yourself, but the less you say, the better. Be very succinct and leave dead airspace. Number 6, never negotiate with a narcissist. Narcissists do not compromise. Everything must be their way. They may negotiate with you to fool you into thinking that they will follow through with their side of the agreement. But don't be fooled. They never do. Don't set yourself up to be frustrated and disappointed. The next one, never give a narcissist a second chance. I know you want to believe that things can get better, but if this person has made a promise and does not keep it, don't let him convince you that he will do better next time, because he won't. He will not. And if he disregards a boundary that you have set, follow through with the consequences that you have previously established. And when I say that, I mean a boundary cannot exist without a consequence, because if you set a boundary and you just say, I don't want you to do this, they're going to do it. There has to be a consequence for crossing your boundaries. And I usually like to use the 3 strikes you're out method. So you set a mild consequence the first time, they're definitely going to push down your boundaries, go right through them, push right through them. And then the second time you make the consequence a little harsher, and then you let them know, you do this again and we're done. The next one, manage the narcissist's wayward emotions and needs. Think of this person as if he or she is a child, and that they're having a temper tantrum rather than an adult who has power over you. Try to allay his anxieties and fears. It's his fragility, not high self-esteem, that causes him to bully. The next one is convince the narcissist that you are playing on the same team. Don't give the narcissist reasons to treat you like an enemy. Narcissists are actors and manipulators, And the best way to deal with them is, as I said, through strategy, but you have to become a bit of an actor as well, okay? Because if you deal with them as an honest person, they're not going to respect you and you're not going to get anything done. The next one, have no expectations of the narcissist. She will never consider your feelings, take responsibility for anything she does, or apologize for hurting you. She doesn't care about you and never will. I know these are harsh truths, and I say these with the utmost confidence. You know, unfortunately, I've worked with thousands of people, and I can tell you that what I say is the absolute truth. Except that what you see is what you get. She will never change into the person you want her to be. Don't let her fool you into believing that she will. Remind yourself of this often. Create an affirmation you can say to yourself to reinforce this fact. This one is hard. The next one is hard. Try not to take his treatment of you personally. I know it feels personal, but it's a symptom of his insecurities. It is not about you. And one little formula that you can always use to remember is, with a narcissist, accusations are confessions. Whatever they're blaming you for or accusing you of, they are admitting to themselves, okay? So they project all of who they are onto you. Okay, another tip, stay focused on your personal objectives. Don't let the narcissist sidetrack you. They're very, very good at this. Do whatever it takes to reach your goals. Be patient, but be smart, okay? They like to take you off track. One of the ways they do this is through these spiraling conversations that end up nowhere, all right? But if you have a goal, don't let them sidetrack you. Don't let them talk you out of it. Okay, next one, exercise self-control. Narcissists are button pushers. They love reactions and they love drama. Don't feed into the things they do or say. The things that they do or say and the abusive tactics that they use on you are meant to solicit emotion and reaction from you. They need these things from you. And so we naturally want to defend ourselves when these kind of things, when we're accused of things or whatever it is, put down or whatever it is. We want to defend ourselves. That is not what you want to do with a narcissist. Never accuse or blame the narcissist. Take responsibility for all your feelings by using I statements. Now, something really important to understand here is narcissists do not have the ability to absorb anything negative. They cannot be told that there's anything wrong with them. They cannot be told that your opinion is different than theirs, any of those things. So it doesn't get absorbed into them. This is part of the false self. So what happens is, if you accuse or blame the narcissist, it is going to slide off of them like Teflon and get projected right onto you. You will never convince them that they're wrong, their opinion is wrong, that there's any flaws, that they're responsible for a problem. Never, never, never. So don't bother. Never demand or give ultimatums. If you want to sway the narcissist in a particular direction, frame it in a way that appeals to his ego. So like, instead of saying, my office is having another family picnic. I always want to go and you never want to go. And if you say no, I'm going without you. That's not what you want to do. What you could do is a little bit of reverse psychology. So you can say something like, my boss asked about you today. He thinks you are so intelligent and interesting and looks forward to seeing you at this year's family picnic. The girls in my office hope to see you too. They're always talking about how handsome and charming you are. With the narcissist, flattery disarms them. You can use it anytime you want to, and it doesn't matter if it comes out of nowhere. To them, it will take down, it will disarm them, and you can get a lot done. You can convince them of a lot of things by compliments. Narcissists use fear to control their victims. Don't show that you're afraid. I know that you are many, many times, unless you've done a lot of work on this. But for the most part, narcissists make us think that they have this control over us, that they loom very large over us. But don't show your fear, because you don't want the narcissist to know that they're having the intended effect upon you. Okay, and the last one in this part is take nothing the narcissist says at face value. She lies and manipulates even when there is no reason to. So be discerning with everything that your abuser tells you to avoid falling into her traps. Narcissists are they create narratives around every single story, whether it be history or whatever they're telling you, that portray them as a victim. They're never responsible for anything. So they create these narratives, and there could be just kernels of truth in this narrative, but don't buy it as a whole. So if you believe the history that they've told you, it may be half true. It may not be true at all. You just can't take it at face value. Now, the next part of this that I want to talk about is deciding whether you want to do measured contact or no contact. And let me just say that at the very end of this video, there will be some questions up. I think it's like 7 questions. Take a snapshot of them or whatever, and you can write the answers to it, because that will help you to sort of see where you are in this process. But, deciding whether or not to continue a relationship with a narcissist is not an easy decision to make. And determining how to proceed with a narcissist in your life involves weighing the value of the relationship with the degree of ongoing abuse. Certain circumstances dictate that you must continue some degree of involvement. Other than that, it's entirely your choice. So one option for continuing the relationship is known as measured contact or limited contact. Measured contact means having limited interactions with the narcissist. Psychological boundaries must be set and enforced so tightly that the narcissist is afraid to cross the line. Now, setting boundaries with a person who doesn't want them is difficult, but it can be done. This person will fight you with everything he has to keep you from doing it. But if you keep enforcing what you say you will do, he will have to eventually comply. Still, it requires toughness and tenacity to keep him in line, because he will continue to test you to see how far he can go. Measured contact requires retraining the narcissist by reward and punishment. This is the same way narcissists condition us, by the way. They condition us by reward and punishment. And this is the same way you would train a child. You have to set up clear guidelines of what you will and will not tolerate. You have to advise your abuser what those guidelines are and then be a strict enforcer. If your abuser even steps one toe over the line, you have to put the consequences into play, the ones that you have set forth. Because if you give him an inch, he will take a mile. And whatever ground you've gained, you will lose. People always say to me, well, why do I have to state my boundaries? Don't they just know? No, they don't know. They don't read you that way. And they don't interpret your behavior. So if you're just pulling away, or maybe, not calling as much or not being around as much, You would think they'll get the message, they'll get the hint. They don't. The only way to do this, which is something that none of us really want to do, is to state our boundaries and state the consequences for crossing them. This takes a lot of courage to do the first time, but once you do it, the power and control reverses. So where you thought they had all the power over you, now all of a sudden you feel like you're in control. So this is really important. Doesn't mean that when you set these boundaries, the narcissist is not going to push back, because he absolutely will push back. This is not for them, it's for you. Because when you do this, when you say, I will no longer tolerate this, that, and the other, and if you do this, this is what you have to lose. You are now in control, all right? Some people can pull measured contact off and some people cannot. And some people just don't want to. And in many cases, the narcissist will not stop the manipulation and abuse no matter what you do. At that point, measured contact becomes impossible. You have to make your own mental health a priority. When the narcissist continues bringing toxicity into your life, you have to separate yourself from it. And this is where total estrangement comes in. It becomes your only option. Total estrangement means no contact at all. I never recommend anybody go no contact before they go through the process of limited contact and boundary setting. If you do, you will be riddled with guilt and you will end up having to contact them because you're going to feel so bad. The thoughts that will go through your head are, well, he doesn't really know why I'm not contacting him, or, what if he's not okay? You have to get to the point where you are completely ready to make this choice. And when you do, it has to be forever. There's no turning back from this, okay? So don't just do it out of frustration and anger, or because you think because you fear setting up the boundaries. This is a psychological process that you must go through in order to be able to do no contact without guilt. Let's see. Okay, so some of the things. Okay, so having no contact involves the following: informing the narcissist that you wish to have no contact with him, informing friends, family, neighbors, coworkers that you have severed contact with her. You want to do this because you don't want people coming to you and asking you a million questions. And you also don't want them to be the liaison between your abuser and you, sending you messages, things like this. If you do see this person, the narcissist, avoid eye contact. And as I said earlier, that's really important. Eye contact to a narcissist means you're still part of the manipulation and control. Change your telephone number and block your abuser's number or numbers. Don't listen to any voicemails. Don't read texts, emails, or letters that are sent. When you are severing contact with a narcissist, you are still very vulnerable to being sucked back in. They have many ways of doing this. And you have to understand that when you're this vulnerable, any little thing they say or do can pull you back in and confuse you. So when you're really ready to do this, you have to make sure you're not looking at social media, okay? Because social media is going to trigger you. You're going to see things that are going on. And often, narcissists will put up things knowing you're going to look at them to make you jealous and to make you feel bad. Okay. Ask mutual friends and relatives not to share information with the narcissist about you. And also ask mutual friends and relatives not to share information about him or her to you. All right. You don't need to know what that person is doing, because a lot of what they're doing is, they're either trying to capture another emotional hostage, victim, relationship, whatever you want to call it, or they're taking pictures showing you what a wonderful life they're having. Sometimes they're showing you things that you've for years asked them to change about themselves, or a vacation you wanted to take, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, they're taking that vacation. All right, and it makes you feel terrible. So you don't want to know what they're doing, and this takes a lot of self-control, and most people will try to peek a little bit. And generally, when they do that, I get a very broken person on the phone after that, or on Zoom, because it takes them back. Okay, so all the progress you make is going to leave. If you have to potentially change jobs or locations so the narcissist doesn't harass you, that's something that can be pretty extreme. But if you get to the point where you are constantly being harassed, meaning you're running into this person all the time, or they're showing up at your job. And by the way, when these things happen, if you have said you are no contact, you can call for law enforcement. Okay, you don't have to answer the door. You don't have to take their calls, or, I say if they show up at your house, pretend you're not there. Even if your car's out there, it doesn't matter. And if they continue to harass, then you call law enforcement. Now, again, this is another kind of extreme thing, but if you don't have children, you can relocate your home with no forwarding information accessible to the narcissist. And by that, I mean not sharing it with people who communicate or could be manipulated by the narcissist. If you're co-parenting minor children, this is against the law. You can't do this. So it becomes a little more tricky. When you are dealing with this person, keep any and all necessary interactions businesslike. No emotions. This goes back to what people call gray rocking, or the monotone voice, or the lack of eye contact. Just very straightforward. Okay, you say what you have to say, hopefully in 10 words or less. Are you picking up little Johnny today? Not, well, last time you picked up little Johnny, you brought your girlfriend, and and he was really, little Johnny was really upset about this, and I don't want you to. None of that. You just say, are you picking up little Johnny? Okay. Deciding whether to continue a relationship with a narcissist. Oh, wait, where was I? Okay. This also is when you have young children and you have to transfer them because you're shared custody. Use someone as a mediator to transfer young children from your home to his and back. When the children are old enough, let them negotiate the logistics of getting together. And generally, kids, by the time they're teenagers, have cell phones. I would say around, some kids are mature at 14. I don't know if they all are, but 15 or 16 and above, I would say let them negotiate it and you stay out of it. I talked about social networking sites. What you want to do is shut down your social networking sites, or block your abusers' sites, or block their access to them. Like I said before, you don't want to see what they're doing, and you don't want them to see what you're doing. And you should not be posting new pictures of yourself. New, I didn't say nude. New pictures of yourself. You don't want to be posting new pictures of yourself, especially if you're dating someone. Don't push it in the narcissist's face. It's not going to work out well for you. Live your life, behind the scenes. Narcissists also use what's called flying monkeys to spy on you. So they recruit people who think they're the victim and you're the perpetrator, and they get them to spy on you and give feedback. So beware of anybody. This could be your family members, your friends, people who have been very loyal and faithful and understood your predicament, and then suddenly they turn on you, because narcissists have the ability to manipulate people into believing that you are the problem. So you have to be very, very, very careful with who you allow to see or know what you're doing. You need to end all joint legal transactions. So that may involve getting a divorce or closing bank accounts and credit card accounts. If you have a business partnership, that has to be dissolved, because you cannot continue. This person will always be a trigger for you, always. And so you're not going to be able to have a friendly business relationship with this person. It's just not going to work. You will not heal, and you will be in a constant state of anxiety. Separate your debts. If you have property together, sell the property. Now, sometimes the other, one person wants to buy the other person out. That's fine if that's what you want to do. But often it's better to just sell the properties and start fresh, because if you're in this property, you will have memories. Just looking around, look at the kitchen, you'll have memories that will trigger you. When you leave, the narcissist take all your possessions and give him or her theirs, okay? So there'll be no reason for them to contact you. What they typically will do is leave a couple of things there so that they can say, oh, I need to stop by because I left my jacket there and I really need this jacket, or I left this paper. When it's over, pull everything together that they could possibly need, and either say it's on your porch, on your front lawn, whatever, or ship it to them directly, all right? And let them know it's coming. If you have, and you obviously will have, memorabilia and photos that remind you of the narcissist, store them away, throw them away, burn them. This is really hard to do. Often our phones are loaded with these images, and we feel like, it's really, really hard to just get rid of them. So you can do this in stages. You can, just kind of put them in a cloud, put them somewhere else, get them off your phone until you feel ready. And then at some point, you're going to want to delete them, because you're going to want to erase this person from your life in order for you to move forward. So at the end, you're going to see a slide or two. I don't know if I did it in, okay, yeah. Before I say that, let me just say one more thing. There's circumstances where no contact is easier than others. So if the narcissist was your spouse or significant others and children were involved, as I said before, or there was no business relationship, it's best to just walk away. It gets much more complicated when children are involved, or when the narcissist is the family member. And as I said, I don't recommend you make rash decisions on how you're going to approach these decisions or situations until you get emotionally healthier. That's likely going to require you working with somebody who understands this specific kind of abuse and can get you to a place where you are much healthier. So try measured contact first. Always try measured contact first. So at the end, you're going to see some questions. These are for you to to maybe just do at home. There's just a few things that I ask. As far as managing the narcissist in your life, one of the questions is, what has the greatest difficulty been in managing the narcissist in your life? That's something that you can journal. The next question is, what would you have done different if you truly understood the nature of the abuser you are dealing with? Think about that and journal it, write it down, take some notes. The third question in this part is, what trait or behavior of the abuser in your life has confused you the most? I know there's been a lot. Think about this. While you're thinking about this, it's helping you to heal. It's helping you to process this. And then when it comes to no contact, low contact, let's see. Okay, so the first one is, how do you manage contact with your abuser? And I give you some choices: full contact, measured or low contact, total estrangement or no contact. You went no contact and changed your mind. You tried both. You can't make a decision on how to do this. You haven't tried either, or you're just not sure. The second question under that part is, if you have used a strategy, explain why it did or didn't work for you. And the third question is, if you've made the decision to go no contact, do you feel resolved or unresolved? And then explain it. So I'm the author of these two books, Close Encounters of the Worst Kind, which is the Narcissistic Abuse Handbook for Survivors. And in October, I recently, it's a year, okay. I published the workbook that goes right along with it, Close Encounters of the Worst Kind Comprehensive Workbook. This is coordinated with the book, and you write right in the book, and it will take you through this whole process of understanding how you've gotten into the mindset that you have and how to get out of it. It's very, very effective in helping you. And these are both available on Amazon. You can order them wherever you want to order them, but I always say Amazon because for me, that's always the easiest. Anyway, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. And have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Next week on Families Divided TV, attorney Chris Smith discusses legal planning to avoid alienation.